Hey there, it's Elisa, the Half Asian Tarot Queen, and I'm back for another reading. I'm still on a roll here, but this week was a Scorpio new moon, so I think ever since I started doing this, it was just there's been like a lot of drama unfolding in these cards. And it seems like, kind of what I'm getting right off the bat before I even start pulling cards is that there's just, there's been a big shift in energies that's been happening with the new moon, and a lot of stuff from the past has been getting cleared, and there's starting to be a new path that's kind of coming online. But I think there's also, some uneasiness about it, because it's just sort of like the new path is starting to come online, but we don't have full clarity about what that is yet, so there's just a lot of uneasiness, we'll just say. So I'm going to pull a couple cards just to get some overall energies for this reading. So this is going to be, ooh, look at that, Ace of Pentacles. That's a good sign. That's one of them. And then this is going to be dated for the 29th. Is that right? No, the 30th. I'm going to date this for the 30th of October, which is a Wednesday. And yeah, we'll see what we get. Okay. So this was actually an overall energy from the other day too, which is interesting. If you go back and look at the past readings, it's an interesting pattern that kind of, when you're the one doing it. So we got the Ace of Pentacles and we have the Five of Wands. So this is interesting because we have this fresh new start, this new beginning, like new opportunities. So this is really exciting. And then we also have some resistance here to the new beginning. So, that's interesting because that's kind of going along with what I was saying. With, there's a new path that's starting to emerge, but there's also some uneasiness because we're not, we haven't come into full clarity about what the new path is, because it's like once it comes into focus, then you can really, get down to business. But in the beginning, the dust hasn't fully settled, there's still some resistance, there's, a lot of parties that are still kind of hanging on to the past and not quite ready to move forward into the new beginning. But this is exciting, and yeah, for me, I will say I am like gung-ho for the new beginning, because yeah, I've alluded to this in past readings, but there's just been like a lot of drama that we just walk through, like particularly with my vegan cheese empire, which I'm trying to get back to in a roundabout legal drama kind of way. I'm pulling out the Serpentine deck, which I've been using for the last several readings. I really love this deck. My friend Angie gave it to me. And I've mentioned in the last couple ones that I think there's been an evolution since this deck, and it's called the Serpent Fire deck. But I love this deck, and I love how it shuffles because it's like really smooth. It's a good shuffler. So I'm going to pull some cards that are just kind of like the overall, well, not the overall, but the energies of the reading, and see what we get. I'm excited about the new beginning. I mean, I'm kind of, experiencing that myself, which is exciting because, yeah, the clearing of the past was pretty dramatic for us. So I'm definitely ready to, like, step into the future and leave that all behind, because, sometimes you're just kind of ready to leave the drama behind, and I think that's kind of going around, like, with a lot of folks, though it does seem like there's kind of been like a battle of wills, you know, and like, so there's like some people that are emerging as the victors and some people that, you know, aren't super happy with how things are evolving, you know, and that's always the case. But like, I think it's been particularly climactic with this new moon shift transit, or however you'd call it. Okay. Oh, on the bottom of the deck, we have the Two of Cups. So this came out in I think it was yesterday's reading. I'm pretty sure it was. So that's exciting because it does seem like, you know, when I go back and look over the pattern of the readings for the last week or so, there's been a lot of drama around love, you know, and like a new love emerging after a period of oppression. So that was a big theme in yesterday's reading, if you want to go back and look at that. So, okay, so this is interesting. We've got the Knight of Cups, the Four of Wands, and we have the Queen of Cups. So that's interesting because it looks like there's this stable new relationship. The Four of Wands is kind of like your marriage, stability, happy family card. So like there's a new sort of family structure that's emerging maybe between this Knight of Cups and this and the Queen of Cups. So that's interesting because they're both from the same suit, but it does seem like, you know, the Queen is a little bit more of a mature energy than this Knight, though they're of the same suit. So there's a lot of compatibility here, but there might be one energy that's a little bit more mature. Okay, so the phone rang and it kind of kicked off the video, but I left off with, yeah, there's like one energy, and it happens to be the feminine energy here in the cards, that it's, you know, they're very well suited for each other, but one might be a little bit more mature, and in this case it's the feminine energy, though, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to play like that, you know, in your situation. It's just how it is with the cards, but it could be, you know, either energy. So yeah, that's interesting. Like there's some sort of partnership that's kind of being born out of this period. We also have the Justice card, which is interesting because, you know, in yesterday's reading, as I kind of alluded to, there was this love affair that was being oppressed, and then it was kind of like starting to bubble up to the surface. So, you know, it's interesting that this Justice, which is, it's like a Libra energy generally, but it's interesting that this is emerging in tandem with this new relationship that's coming online. Then we also have the Ace of Pentacles again, which is crazy because, again, this is the second time in this reading, and that definitely goes along with the Scorpio new moon energy of renewal and a new beginning. This tends to portend like a new opportunity, especially like with work or something pragmatic, but it can be any kind of new beginning. And then we have a Page of Pentacles, which is kind of like the very early stages of a new beginning. So all of this is very interesting. It's like there's this relationship that's coming online, and, you know, it seems to be like, you know, a situation where, you know, justice is coming into play, and it's giving rise to this new beginning in this relationship. So that's all super interesting, and I'm going to pull a couple more cards that are interesting. On the bottom of the deck here we have the Eight of Cups, which is kind of like walking away from a situation that doesn't serve you, you know, towards something better, you know. And so this really goes along with yesterday's reading, and also just the idea of like a relationship being sort of oppressed, you know, and not being allowed to sort of happen, and then finally coming and bubbling up, and that going along with the Eight of Cups. I'm going to pull 3 cards of, you know, energies for, you know, guidance about how we can move through this moment in time. So I'm going back to this Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot just to mix it up, and I'm going to pull 3 more cards. But yeah, it does seem like, you know, it's interesting because we have all these pentacles, you know, the aces of pentacles and the page of pentacles, which that's an earth sign. So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And like a lot of times that indicates things in the earthly realm, like, you know, work, money, finances. So it's almost like this new opportunity is kind of like allowing this sort of love energy to come forward, like it's somehow like creating an opening for this situation to emerge, like almost like part of what was oppressing it in the past was, you know, financial issues, or, you know, something like finally someone saved up enough money to get their divorce and move out, or, you know, that's one example. But interesting. Okay, I'm just going to pull a couple more cards. I'm seeing some interesting stuff already. Okay. And definitely, yeah, it's an interesting continuum from yesterday. Okay, so on the bottom we have the High Priestess. So that's a very spiritual energy that's, you know, very kind of in tune and just kind of knowing, intuitive kind of energy. So for a guidance, we have the King of Cups, which he showed up yesterday in this love reading, you know. So this is, you know, this king energy. And interesting because, you know, we had the Queen of Cups earlier, and I was talking about how there was a little bit of a mismatch in the maturity between the Queen and the Knight, but then this King comes up. So it's almost like, you know, part of the guidance is kind of like stepping into this energy, you know, to match the Queen. So that's interesting. And then we also have the Two of Wands, which is, you know, is kind of coming to a decision about things. So it's almost like, you know, in doing this, you know, and kind of coming to this decision, he goes from like the Knight to the King, you know, this person or energy. And it's interesting because this King came out right on top of the Knight of Cups and the Justice card. So it's almost like, you know, this King of Cups, you know, he becomes the king by like coming to a decision, by taking decisive action, and you know, basically righting some kind of wrong, and this is how he becomes the king, you know, and this is how he becomes the match for his queen. And then we also have the Four of Swords. So this is also a card of contemplation. So maybe this is something that hasn't quite yet happened yet. Maybe this is something that's being contemplated. But in order to right this situation, this Knight's going to have to step into this King energy to basically, you know, step into his destiny and create this new opportunity for himself. So that's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting stuff. I'm going to pull one more card from the Sacred Traveler Oracle deck, which I'm also super hooked on, and just see if we can get one card of guidance, maybe for this King of Cups person. What can we tell this Knight / King of Cups to like kind of help? Oh, interesting. Okay. So we've got this like protected by angels. It says you are cherished by the angels. So maybe this is like a confidence building energy, you know, just this King Knight has been sort of oppressed by some sort of injustice, and so, you know, is a little bit fearful about making this move that he needs to make to kind of restore balance in his life. And so this is sort of like an affirmation from, you know, the angels, like, hey, we got you, you know, you got this, just go forward, you're gonna be all right. So that's your advice for today, and it sounds like an exciting day, and we'll see you tomorrow.